It was a quiet evening in my small suburban neighborhood, the kind where the loudest noise you'd hear was a distant dog barking or a car passing by. I was settling down on my porch with a cup of tea when the sky above my backyard lit up in a cascade of brilliant green and blue streaks. A thunderous crash followed, shaking the ground beneath my feet. I rushed to the yard, my heart pounding. There, in the middle of my vegetable garden, lay a smoldering, alien-looking spacecraft. It was sleek, metallic, and unlike anything I had ever seen before. The air was thick with the smell of scorched earth and ozone. As I stood there, frozen in shock, a section of the ship hissed open, revealing a faintly glowing interior. From the smoke and shadows stepped a figure, a tall, imposing woman clad in what appeared to be battle armor. Her skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight, a silvery hue with patterns that shifted like liquid metal. Her piercing eyes locked onto mine, a deep violet that seemed to see right through me. She carried herself with a commanding presence, her every movement exuding both strength and grace. She spoke, her voice resonant and melodic, though I couldn't understand the words at first. A small device on her wrist emitted a series of beeps, and then her words became clear. "Human. I require assistance." I blinked, still struggling to process what was happening. "Assistance?" I managed to croak out. "My vessel is damaged. I am stranded. Your atmosphere is incompatible for prolonged exposure." She swayed slightly, and I noticed a deep gash on her arm, silvery blood oozing from the wound. "I need repairs and refuge." Instinct took over. Sure. "Come inside," I said, motioning toward my house. She hesitated, scanning the area as if assessing for threats, then nodded and followed me in. As she stepped through my doorway, her towering frame seemed to shrink slightly, almost as if she was adapting to fit in my space. "What's your name?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I am Commander Zyra of the Valtran Legion," she replied, wincing as she sat down at my kitchen table. "You may call me Zyra." "I'm Jake," I said, grabbing my first aid kit. I wasn't sure if my human supplies would work on her, but it was worth a shot. "Let me take a look at that wound." She studied me for a moment, her expression unreadable, then extended her arm. Her skin was warm and slightly textured, like fine scales. As I cleaned the wound, she winced but didn't pull away. The silvery liquid clotted almost instantly under the antiseptic. "Thank you," she said, her tone softer now. "Your compassion is unexpected." I shrugged. "Well, you crashed in my yard. It's kind of hard to ignore." A faint smile tugged at the corner of her mouth, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. "My mission is of great importance. If my enemies locate me here, your entire planet could be at risk." "Enemies?" I echoed, feeling a knot tighten in my stomach. "Yes. They are relentless. My ship's crash will not go unnoticed for long. I must repair it and leave before they arrive." "Okay," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "What do you need?" "Materials to mend the ship's energy core," she said, standing and towering over me again. "And a secure location to operate." Over the next few days, my quiet life turned into something out of a science fiction movie. Zyra worked tirelessly on her ship, using tools and devices that seemed impossibly advanced. I helped where I could, scavenging metal parts and electronics from the local junkyard, though I had no idea what most of it was for. She was precise, efficient, and occasionally impatient, but there were moments when she let her guard down. I learned that she was a warrior, exiled from her homeworld for defying a corrupt regime. Her mission was to gather allies and resources to fight back. Despite her stoic demeanor, Zyra began to trust me. She told me about the vast galaxies beyond our own, about the beauty of her homeworld, and the horrors of war. In turn, I told her about Earth, about the simplicity of life in my small town, and how much trouble she'd caused my poor vegetable garden. One night, as we worked under the stars, she paused and looked at me. "You could have turned me away. Or worse, betrayed me. Why didn't you?" I shrugged. "You needed help. It's what we're supposed to do for each other, right?" She seemed to consider this, then nodded. "Perhaps your species is not as primitive as I thought." Before long, her ship was operational again. The day she was ready to leave, a strange sadness settled over me. I had grown accustomed to her presence, to the thrill of the unknown she brought into my life. "Will I ever see you again?" I asked as she prepared to board her ship. She hesitated, then stepped closer. "If I succeed in my mission, perhaps. Until then, stay safe, Jake of Earth. You are braver than you realize." With that, she boarded her ship. The engines roared to life, and in a flash of light, she was gone. My yard was quiet again, save for the charred remains of her landing. Life eventually returned to normal, but I often found myself staring at the stars, wondering if Zyra was out there, fighting her battles and remembering the human who had helped her. And though she was gone, she had left me with a sense of wonder and a reminder that the universe was far larger and more extraordinary than I'd ever imagined.